keep your eyes on BlackRock because they're up to something. I mean, when are they not? But what they're up to in the crypto space is going to have massive implications for our crypto bags. Now, what do I mean by something? Well, I'm talking about the tokenization of real world assets, things like stocks, ETFs, bonds, real estate, and then moving those assets onto the blockchain. We're not talking about values in the millions or hundreds of millions or billions. Oh no, we're talking trillions with a T. In fact, it is in the tens to maybe even hundreds of trillions in the long run. For real, this is big. So today, I'm going to give you the latest on BlackRock's work to tokenize, well, basically everything. How much in total RWA value we could see move onto the blockchain, what might all this do to crypto valuations more broadly, which coins should benefit the most, and a few caveats that we need to watch out for. So as you can see, we've got plenty to discuss, so we better dive right the heck in. Now let's start off with this post right here. This is from Nate Garassi stating that BlackRock is exploring ways to tokenize ETFs. But you'll notice that Nate includes some article text from Olga Harif, who works as a senior crypto reporter for Bloomberg. So quoting from Karif here, the world's largest asset manager is weighing ways to make exchange-traded funds available as tokens on the blockchain, according to people familiar with the matter who declined to be identified. BlackRock is working on tokenizing funds tied to real-world assets such as stocks, subject to regulatory considerations, which regulatory considerations seem to have opened up the green light here to say, yeah, you can do that. So there you have it. A senior reporter from Bloomberg is writing that the world's largest asset manager is exploring ways to tokenize ETFs and put them on the blockchain. Now, Larry Fink has been talking about this for a while. I pulled up the source article here from Karif as well, which she published on September 12th, and I just want to highlight a few things that she wrote. Quote, for ETFs, it could mean trading beyond Wall Street's set hours, making U.S. products easier to access abroad, and creating potential new use cases as collateral in crypto networks. Imagine being able to take a loan versus your Tesla stocks on-chain. Imagine being in Nigeria and doing that. It changes everything. Tokenized share classes are seen as an early step toward a broader migration of markets onto the blockchain, she continued, a shift proponents say could enable instant settlement, fractional shares, and much more. And finally, CEO Larry Fink has said that every financial asset can be tokenized. That's just Larry Fink, one of the most powerful men on the face of the planet. He reiterated this view in his 2025 annual letter to investors. All right, so all that is probably a good summary of where things currently stand. So the next question is, how much in RWA value could we actually see move over to the blockchain? Well, we've got some interesting stats for you. Before we get into that, guys, if you want to trade RWA coins, dog coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, you need a good place to do that. That place is called BitUnix, where I'm doing most of my futures trading these days. If you'd like to join me over there, link down below. And it's never been a better time to join. Not only do they have deep liquidity across all the big assets, it's literally available to anyone, anywhere, with no KYC, no VPN, no BS. But when you sign up using that link down below, guess what? $400 deposit bonus. You put $2,000 or more in, you get $400 cash money back. Insane trading bonuses, 30% off your fees. Plus, for the month of September, we're giving away $1,000 every live stream. That could be you. You could win that money. Check it out. Link down below. Now, back to this how much questions, but let's first get our bearings. So RWA.xyz website is probably the definitive source for getting a macro overview on how much RWA value has already been moved onto the blockchain. And currently that number is 30 billion. Not bad. But when thinking about how much in total value could move over and what the predictions are saying, well, look at the asset class list on the left. These are the asset classes that have already begun to be tokenized. Currencies, the US bond market, the global bond market, private credit, commodities, institutional funds, and stocks. Now think about this list in conjunction with what Larry Fink is telling his shareholders. Every financial asset can be tokenized. Literally hundreds of trillions of dollars of potential value can be tokenized on chain. Do you see what I'm getting at here? I think the answer to how much an RWA value can move over to the blockchain is, well, basically everything. Now, fancy suit people predict it's going to be about $30 trillion by the end of the decade. So look, I ain't no math scientist, but from 30 billion to 30 trillion is a pretty damn big jump. And if the benefits of tokenization and blockchain really do outweigh those traditional stock trading systems, benefits like 24-hour trading, fractionalization of shares, ledger transparency, instant settlement, lower fees, fewer intermediaries, global access, sounds like a pretty damn good deal. So no wonder BlackRock's get into it. Then indeed everything, or most everything, will move over to the blockchain eventually. But the big move will be from 30 billion to 30 trillion. The market always gets what it wants eventually. Larry Fink gets what the hell he wants, okay? So asking the question again, how much in RWA value could we see move over? Well, in the long term, I think it would be within the next maybe 10 to 20 years, $300 trillion potentially. That's the total in today's valuation for the world's tradable financial assets, excluding real estate. Now, real estate will come on too, but that's just everything else. Now, of course, and we are not talking about derivatives and all that stuff, ETFs of ETFs and CDOs and all bullshit anyway. Now, of course, assuming that everything gets tokenized, this will not happen overnight. So when thinking about shorter term projections, here's what the experts are saying. According to a 2024 report, McKinsey thinks asset tokenization can go from where it is today at 30 billion to 2 to 4 trillion by 2030. They have a lowball estimate. We've seen much bigger estimates as, again, the 30 trillion number. But still, even if we only get to, well, let's say 3 trillion by 2030, that's a damn big jump from 30 billion today. I think McKinsey's numbers are way too low, though. Something that probably makes more sense is in the shorter term is the number that Ripple and the Boston Consulting Group released in a report earlier this year, and that's 9.4 trillion by 2030, 19 trillion by 2033. Not bad. If this occurs, it's a compound annual growth rate of 53%. Finally, there's the Standard Chartered report from 2024, where the bank argued that tokenization could hit $30 trillion by 2034. It ain't bad, is it? So there you have it. In the next few years, in the shorter term, which is like 5 years, tokenization is going to go from billions to, even at the most bearish of estimates, about $3 trillion. Okay? That's 100x from here. And in the longer term, we could see essentially the entire global financial market on the blockchain. So the next question is, what might all this tokenization do to crypto valuations? How do you benefit from this information? Where do you make money on this shit, right? Honestly, it's hard to say, and I don't want to just give some broad blanket answer, but really I think the only answer I can give is that valuations for certain tokens will be dramatically higher than where they currently are. So which coins will benefit the most? Well, the short list of the ones that I currently think stand to benefit the most from all this, of course, are core blockchains, the ones that are getting the most adoption. Ethereum, Solana, maybe layer 2s like Base. We'll see a bunch of RWAs. Onto Finance, Athena, Chainlink, all the stuff that's necessary for this to happen. The Circle stock, yeah, right? Now, I'll let you do your research on all these. I'm not saying you should buy any of this stuff. Obviously, investing in crypto is risk and you can lose all your money. But think about why they could massively benefit from tokenization. Finally, I want to close the video with 2 very important caveats, meaning there's at least 2 things we need to consider that perhaps we should temper our expectations. The first is that there might be some technical barriers that can prevent tokenization of everything from eventually occurring. Now, to be clear, from a conceptual perspective, for me, it almost seems inevitable that we'll see the global markets move on chain. Why the hell wouldn't they? It only makes sense. It's better business. However, it is possible for practical or technical reasons this actually doesn't come to fruition as soon as we think it's going to. Second, we have to acknowledge that not all the tokenization will move on to our beloved blockchains. It's problematic, isn't it? Meaning the corporations are building out their own layer 1s right now. What about Stripe, for example? They're building their own blockchain. The Tempo blockchain. Circle's Arc blockchain. Google's Universal Ledger. My point here is that, of course, we can expect Ethereum, Solana, and Chainlink and several other core cryptos, particularly ones working in the asset tokenization space, although there's a lot of those, most of those will not be winners. But several of these will go up massively in value. We must also acknowledge that a lot of this tokenization will flow into these corporate blockchains as well, and that's one of the reasons that makes estimating future crypto valuations for all this so damn difficult. If we bring 30 trillion on chain, how much of that is going to then be used to take out loans to buy Bitcoin, and who the hell knows, right? Now, only time will tell as to how much value actually flows into decentralized versus corporate blockchains. I can assume it will be trillions, okay? The future will be a multi-chain world, and even the walled gardens of corporate blockchains will still have people going out of those to find liquidity elsewhere. So to wrap everything up, the research that I did for this video has given me renewed bullishness for several of our crypto assets. I do think our industry has a very bright future because we really could see literally hundreds of trillions of dollars in real world assets moving on chain over the next couple of decades. Now, how this is all divided in a multi-chain future, who the big winners are going to be, Solana, Ethereum, whoever else, remains to be seen. New players that haven't even come on board yet, DeFi apps or things like Chainlink, what's going to benefit the most? But I'll just leave you with this. Keep your eyes on rwa.xyz. Monitor the changes in RWA growth and pay attention as to which blockchains are the big recipients of all this RWA value. So far, it's been a very few chains. Just keep your eyes on this website alone. It'll probably give you some of the best alpha for the future of the RWA space and some very solid cryptos that are involved in that over the next few years. Again, Solana, Ethereum, throw Avalanche in there, XRP Ledger, stuff like this. See who's getting the real value on chain. See where the corporations are actually putting their money. Because as always, People can talk a real good game in crypto. Our thing's going to do this, that, and everything. I saw some deck the other day, like, we're just going to capture 10% of all the real world assets. Shut the fuck up. Of course you're not. Money talks. Bullshit walks. When you go and look at what BlackRock's doing, what Franklin Templeton's doing, all these big players, where are they actually putting their money? Where are they deploying real world assets today? And I'll tell you what, it ain't on random blockchain number 79, okay? It's on the big boys, the ones that can be trusted. Thanks for watching.